So, very good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss about iterative statements in C programming language. So, iterative statement in C programming language is one of the concepts we are going to use in C programming language. So, this statement is used to execute a particular statement repeatedly or continuously by giving the condition n number of times. So here iterative statement in C programming language is used to execute a set of statements repeatedly for a fixed number of times is called iterative statement in C. So iterative statement in C is also called as loops in C programming language. So what are the different types of loops we are going to use, how we are going to execute different types of loops, we will explain in the next upcoming topics. So this statement is also called as repetitive statements. This statement is also called as repetitive statements because a statement, depending on the condition, we are going to execute repeatedly. That's why it is called iterative statements. Until some condition gets satisfied, we are going to execute this statement continuously. Majorly, in iterative statement in C programming language, it consists of three different types of loops. There are while loop, do while loop, and for loop. We will discuss the difference between while loop, do while loop, and for loop. How we are going to use these different types of loops along with the examples. So in this lecture, we will talk about while loop. So while loop is the example for iterative statement. There are three types of loops in iterative statement. One is while loop, second one is do while loop, third is for loop. Now we will discuss about while loop. So while loop is the statement which executed repeatedly until the Boolean condition gets satisfied. Then it executes the statement repeatedly. That is called while loop. So before we write the program using while loop, let us consider the syntax of while loop. So here, this is the syntax of while loop. So here we are going to write the expression while using condition while loop. Then we are going to write the statement 1 and statement 2. If the expression condition is satisfied, then it will execute the statement until the condition gets satisfied. It will execute the statement. If the condition fails, then it will come out of the loop. So this is the syntax for while loop. So this is the flow chart. Here we are going to write the condition using while loop. If the condition is true, then it will execute the statement. If the condition is false, it will come out of the loop. This is the flow chart using while loop. Let us consider a simple example using while loop. This is my value integer. I have given the value I is equal to 3. Then I am checking the condition I is greater than 0. Then when to print the value, then we will decrement the I value. See here, what is the value of I here? 3. Check 3 is greater than 0. Yes, obviously 3 is greater than 0. Then it will print 3. Then this is my output screen. It will print 3. Next, after 3, it will decrement I. The beginning I was 3. After decrementing I becomes 2. Next, checks the condition I 2 is greater than 0. Yes, obviously 2 is greater than 0. Then it will print 2. To print 2, after printing 2, I am decrementing I value. So I becomes 1. I becomes 1. Then checks 1 greater than 0. It will check the condition. Yes, 1 greater than 0. Then it will print 1. Then it will decrement I value. Decrementing I value becomes 0. So 0 is greater than 0. 0 is greater than 0. It is false statement. Do not execute print statement. It will come out of the. This is a simple example using while. So in this lecture, we will discuss about for loop. So before going to understand about for loop, let us discuss about while loop. I already explained in the previous class about while loop, how while loop works. So in this case, we are initializing the value, then we checking the condition. If the condition gets satisfied, then we'll print the value, then we'll decrement the value. This is the syntax for while loop. The same statement I'm going to write using for loop. Here I'm going to initialize in for loop. This is my first part is initialization. My second part is condition. Next part is statements. I'm going to, after checking the condition, I'm going to write the statement. Then the final part is incrementing or decrementing the value. So let us see one example using for. See here, I'm initializing I value. Here, initializing I value, I is equal to 3. Then I'm checking the condition. I'm checking the condition, I greater than 0. Yes, 3 is greater than 0. After checking the condition, I'm not decrementing the, it's very important. I'm not decrementing the value, I'm just printing the value. After printing the value, I'm decrementing the value. So that is the difference between while loop and for loop. So now 3 is greater than 0, then it will print 3, then decrement I becomes 3, then again it will change 2 greater than 0, then it will print 2, then decrement I becomes 1, to check the condition, 1 is greater than 0, yes, then print the 1 value, then decrement I becomes 0, 0 is greater than 0, 0 is not greater than 0, it will come out of the loop. So this is how we are going to work using for loop in iterative statement in C programming language. So let us discuss the flow chart using for loop. Here I am visualizing the value, initialization, then checking the condition. Checking the condition true, then I am printing the statement. After printing the statement, and increment or decrementing the value. After decrement statement, again I am checking the condition. If the condition fails, it will come out of the loop. This is about for. So in this lecture, we will discuss about the difference between while loop and do while loop. So while loop and do while loop are iterative statements in C programming language. So we already discussed about while loop and for loop. There are 3 types of loops in iterative statement. One is while loop, for loop and do while loop statement. Let us consider these 2 examples. I will discuss the difference between while loop and do while loop. While loop is also called as pre-test loop. So do while loop is also called as post test loop. So while loop is called as entry loop. Do while loop statement is called exit loop statement. Let us consider this while loop. So in while loop, first I am initializing the value, then I am checking the condition, then I am printing the statement, then I am decrement or incrementing the value. This is already explained in previous class about while loop. Here I am considering I equals 0. So checking the condition, 0 is greater than 0, it is false. So 0 is greater than 0, it is false. To not print the value, so directly come out of the loop. Then the output is no output. Whereas in do while statement, I am initializing the value, then I am printing the value. After printing the value, I am checking the condition. That is the difference. kindly note the difference between while loop and do while loop. Here I am checking the condition, then printing the value. Here I am initializing the value, I am printing the value, then I am decrementing the value, then I am checking the condition. That is the major difference between while loop and do while loop. And one more difference is, at least in do while loop statement, at least once the condition is get satisfied or not, at least once the statement going to print. If the condition is false or true, at least once it is going to print the value. Whereas in while loop, if you want to print the value, at least it has to satisfy one condition to print the value. There is a major difference. And look here, after checking the condition, you have to put semicolon here. If you don't put semicolon here, it will encounter an error. Right? You have to put a semicolon at the end of the while loop statement. Here, I am checking, initializing the value I is equal to 0, then printing the value. So what is the value of I here? 0. The output becomes 0. The value of output is 0. Then I am going to check the condition. So here at least once I am printing the value. That is the difference between while loop and do while loop. So in this lecture we will discuss about nested for loop. So what is nested for loop? The statement block of a for loop lies completely inside the block of another loop. We are going to write a loop, for loop. Inside the for loop we are going to write one more for loop. We are going to put the condition. First check the first condition. If that condition gets satisfied, we get into the next condition, next loop. If that condition is satisfied, then it will enter into the next statement, that is next for loop. So you are going to write the statements in the block of statement one after another is called nested for loops. So here I am going to explain a simple example of syntax for nested for loop. Here I am going to write, first is for loop, the same syntax. I am going to write initialization, condition, and then I am going to increment and decrement the value. If this condition, this for loop is called outer loop. This is called outer loop. Then after for loop, I am going to write one more for loop. Inside the for loop, I am going to write one more for loop. That is called inner loop. That is called inner loop. If this condition satisfied, then it will enter into this for loop. Then it will initialize one more value. Then check the condition. If this condition satisfied, then it will print this block of statements. If the condition fails, then it will come out of the loop, then it will execute this block of statements. This is how we are going to write nested for loop. If the condition is true, you print the statement, then you increment and decrement the statement. Suppose if the statement is false, is come out of the loop, then it will increment, decrement these statements. This is called nested for loops. Next, I will explain the example for nested for loop. So let us discuss the example for nested for loop. Here I am writing the program to print the pattern, the star. I am going to write a program to print the value output star. So here I am going to write, I am using nested for loop. I will explain line by line how the nested for loop execute to print the pattern star. It's a very simple program. So header files, I am going to write inside the main function. I am taking two values, integer values I and j. This loop is called inner loop. This for loop is called, this loop is called outer loop. This for loop called inner loop. So I am writing two for loop to print the pattern x. I am taking the integer value I and j. Here in the outer loop, I am initializing I is equal to 1. So 1 is less than or is equal to 6. Yes, it's true. Then it will come inside this loop. Then it will check this inner for loop. Checks the condition. J is equal to 1. What is the value in J here? 1. 1 less than or is equal to, what is the value of I? 1. 1 less than or is equal to 1? Yes. Then it will print star. It will print star. After printing the star, it will increment J. After printing the statement, it will increment J. J becomes 2. So J becomes 2. Then it checks the condition. 2 is greater than or is equal to 1. 2 is greater than or equal to 1? No, it is false. 2 is greater than 1. So it will not execute this statement. It will come out of this loop and execute this statement. Loop slash n. Then the line will come to, cursor will come to this line. After this statement, it will increment I. After this statement, it will increment I. I becomes 2. Check the condition. 2 is greater than 6. Yes, 2 is greater than 6. It will come to J. Check the condition. Now J becomes 1. 1 less than or is equal to 2. I value is 2. Checks the condition. 1 less than or equal to, yes, print star. The cursor is here to print the star. Then increment J. J becomes 2. Checks the condition. 2 less than or equal to 2. Yes, 2 is equal to 2. Then it will print one more star. Print one more star. Then it will increment J. J becomes 3. 3 less than or equals to 2. 3 is not less than or equal to 2. It is false. It will come out of the loop. It will print slash n. The cursor comes to the next line. After printing the statement, again it will increment I value. I becomes 3. So I becomes 3. Check the condition. Yes, 3 less than or is equal to 6. Condition satisfied. If get into this statement, it checks this loop. J is equal to 1. 1 less than or equal to 3. Yes. Print star. Print star. And increment J value. J becomes 2. 2 less than or equal to 3. Yes. Print one more star. Then increment J. J becomes 3. 3 is less than or equal to 3. Yes. You print one more star. Check the condition. It will increment the J. J value becomes 4. J becomes 4. 4 is not equals to 3. It's a first condition. Not execute this statement. It will come out of the loop and execute this statement. Slash n. The cursor comes to the next line. Then it will increment I value. I becomes 4. I becomes 4. 4 less than or equal to 6. Yes. This outer loop comes to the inside J loop. Checks the condition. J becomes 1. 1 less than or is equal to 4. Yes. Print yes. Stop. Then increment J. J becomes 2. J becomes 3. J becomes 4. Increment 4. After incrementing the value J, J becomes 5. 5 is not equal, less than or equal to 4. It's false. You come to this statement, you go to the new line. Next. Then it will increment I value. I value becomes 5. 5 less than or is equal to 6. True. The outer loop come to inside the for loop. Then it will execute. Checks the condition. J is 1. 1 less than or is equal to 5. Yes. Print star. How many times? 5 times. After incrementing J, 5, 6, 6 not less than or equal to 5. Come out of the loop, it will go to the new line. Then I become increment I becomes 6. 6 less than or equal to 6. Yes. The outer loop comes inside the for loop. checks the condition for this, j value 1 less than or is equal to 6, yes, print star. Increment j, 2 less than or is equal to 6, yes, print star. Increment j becomes 3, print star. Increment j, how many times? 6 times. Then j becomes 7. 7 is not less than or equal to 6. It is false. Condition fails. The loop come out of the loop. It will print next line. Cursor comes here. Increment I becomes 7. 7 less than or is equal to 6. No, the condition fails. The loop completely come out of the. This is all we are going to write nested for. The nested for loop may be used in matrix multiplication examples. Thank you. So in this session, we will discuss about break statement. So break statement is the keyword we are going to use to terminate from the loop. It's called break statement. There is one of the confusing statement in C programming language, that is break and continue. Compared to previous section C loop structures, this is one of the confusing statement used in C programming language. I'll explain how the break statement works in C programming language. So break is the keyword we're going to use to terminate from the program. Is used to terminate from the loop. It's called break statement. Let us consider a simple example. I'm writing a program, a user to enter integer until he or she enters a negative number or 0. I'm going to write a program. So here is the main. I'm declaring the value, initializing the value n. Enter the number. So suppose I'm entering the value 9. So n is 9. I'm entering. Then I check the condition. Is 9 not equal to 0? Yes, 9 not equal to 0. We checks the condition. 9 less than 0. 9 is less than 0. If this condition is satisfied, then it will execute this statement. If this condition not satisfied, then it will not execute break statement. Then directly transfer another number. Transfer another number, then I'll write 89. Then it will print 89. Suppose if you get a negative number, so I'll write the program, enter the number minus 9. Minus 9, I'll enter the number minus 9. Checks minus 9 is not equal to 0. Yes, it comes. Checks minus 9 less than 0. Yes, minus 9 less than 0. Automatically this break statement execute. By default it will come out of the loop. It will not, whatever the statement, it doesn't matter, it will not encounter this statement. Once the condition is true, it will execute break statement. So given the value, negative value minus 9, minus 9 is less than 0, yes, then it will execute break statement. No matter whatever statement is written after break statement, it will not encounter, it will not consider the next part, next section. Directly it will terminate from the program. This is the flow chart. You can see to check, to execute break statement in C program, it will come out of the loop directly. First check the condition. If the condition is true, then go to break statement. The break statement is true, it will exit directly, exit out of the loop directly. The break statement is false, this statement is false, it will remain in the code. It will remain in the code, it will execute this code, then again we check for the next condition. Suppose if the given condition is only false, then directly we exit from the loop. This is the flow chart for break statement. Thank you. So let us discuss about continuous statements. So similar to break statement, continuous statement will execute, but break statement will terminate the loop, is whereas continuous statement instead of terminating the loop, it will continue with the same loop. So instead of terminating the loop, it forces to execute the next iteration of the loop. Execute the next iteration of loop is called continue statement. Here I'm going to write a flow chart how the continuous statement works in C programming language. First we'll see the flow chart, then I'll explain how continuous statement executes using simple program. Continuous statement, first check the condition. If the condition is true, then we come to the continuous statement. If the continuous statement executes, if it is true, it will not terminate from the loop. It will execute the next iteration of the next, checks the next condition of the loop. Instead of terminating, it will execute the next condition. If the continuous statement false, then it will execute body of the loop. If the condition itself fails, it will not execute the condition statement. Automatically it will false, it terminate, come out of the program. This is simple flowchart for continue statement. For example, I'm going to write a program to print all odd numbers from 1 to 20. To this program, how the continuous statements executes, we'll see. So I'm writing a program taking two variables, n is equal to 2 and integer value I. I'm initializing using the for loop and initializing I value is equal to 1. So I becomes 1. Obviously 1 less than is equal to 20. Then checks n is equal to 2. 1 less than or is equal to 2. It is false, so it will not execute this body of the statement. It will print, automatically print I value. So I value becomes 1. After printing the value, it will increment the I value. After printing the I value, it will increment the I value. I becomes 2. 2 less than or equal to 20. Yes. Then checks this condition. 2 equals n. Yes, n is equal to 2. I is equal to 2. Then comes here to increment n. N becomes 4. N becomes 4. Then it will execute continuous statement. It will not execute this statement. Continuous statement means you go to the iteration again. I incremented by 3. I becomes 3. 3 less than or is equal to 20. Yes, I is 3 is less than or equal to 20. Checks 3 equals 4. No, 3 is not equal to 4. Then it will not execute this statement. It will directly print I value. I becomes 3. Then increment I becomes 4. I becomes 4. 4 less than or is equal to 20. Yes. I 4 less than or equal to 20. Checks n is equal to 4. I is equal to 4. Condition satisfied. Then increment n. N becomes 6. Then continue. Increment I value. I becomes 5. 5 less than or equal to 20. Yes. 5 less than or equal to 20. 5 is not equal to 4 or 6. 5 is not equal to 6. Then do not execute this statement. Directly print I value. Then to increment I becomes 6. 6 less than or equal to 20. Then come to here. 6 equals 6. Yes. Then n becomes 8. N becomes 8. Then to continue, increment I. Like that, it will print all the odd numbers. So I'm going to print all the odd numbers from 1 to 20 using continuous statement. Suppose if you don't give continuous statement here, then to print all the values from 1 to 20. If you don't give continue statement, these are the program continuous statements works. Hope you understand, guys. Thank you for watching this video. Next class I'll explain go to sleep. Thank you.